This Capital Ministries ministry update is about the Capital Ministries process, helping to build righteous leaders the biblical way. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 34 states, "Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a disgrace to any people." This proverb contains a sound political maxim, the simplicity of which is often overlooked. Personal righteousness in the population, both in citizens and leaders, is the single most important commodity that any country can possess. The virtue of righteousness, states Solomon, is preeminent to everything else because righteousness exalts a nation. God's truths are critically important to the success of those who decide the trajectory of our country and its future. Characteristics of righteousness are necessary to the dispatch of good civil government, but how are righteous leaders formed? Scriptures inform us that the only way to produce virtues in individuals is by evangelism and discipleship through the efforts of believers into the lives of others. As the discipleship, priorities, responsibilities, and manifestations of the church go, so goes the state. This is why it is so important for the church to stay on point. When it becomes activistic at the expense of being evangelistic and discipleshipistic, it is much less effective in terms of determining the direction of a nation. It has in essence abandoned its God-given primary function. Put another way, the church, the heralder of God's truth, is critically important to the maturation of the public servant and thereby the future of the country. It stands to reason that the expositor or instructor of God's precepts, the Bible teacher, is the seminal incubator of a country's present and future culture. In Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, God said to his Bible teachers of the time, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I also will reject you from being my priest. Since you have forgotten the law of your God, I also will forget your children." The Old Testament passage serves to reveal the God-intended relationship between the church and the state today. For the church to fail to teach God's precepts to the leaders of the state is a sore subject in the eyes of God. It is incumbent on the church to teach God's precepts and manufacture righteous leaders in and for the state. The state itself is dependent on the church to do this for her. She is not in the business of maturing her own leaders as much as she is in need of them. Personal righteousness in a population, in citizens and especially in public servants, is the single most important commodity that any country can possess. The very success of a nation's future depends upon this certainty. Throughout the Old Testament and the New, the Bible places a high priority on reaching the affinity sphere of political leaders with the Word of God. The truth of this principle has propelled Capital Ministries to found discipleship Bible studies for political leaders inside the halls of government since 1996. It is a calling we take very, very seriously. CapMin has established ministries to legislators and constitutional officers in 43 states, created 3 studies to national leaders in Washington, D.C., and planted ministries in 34 foreign nations. Additionally, CapMin is continuing to establish ministries to local public servants in the United States and in foreign nations. For more information about this topic, read the CapMin Bible study entitled 5 Definitive Characteristics of Righteous Leadership, and you can obviously find all Bible studies at capmin.org.